All right, peace and blessings, and welcome to another episode of YB's Collaboration Corner in conjunction with Self-Publishing 30 Days podcast. I'm your host, Rob YB Youngblood, President of Sales for Self-Publishing 30 Days, and your LinkedIn locksmith. I'm truly excited to have Thomas. He doesn't like to be called Thomas, at least to me. He likes to be known as Thom, but for official purposes, Thomas Harrison is here with me. Thom, welcome to YB's Collaboration Corner. How you doing today, my brother?
Rob, I'm killing it today, man. Thank you so much. I am so flattered that you consider taking some time to visit with me. I'm comfortable in my skin and feel good about myself, but I'm still flattered that you thought of me, man. I'm very happy to talk to you about the topics we're going to talk today.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, what prompted this to happen is you and I had a conversation as a means of catching up, right? And we'll go into it for, you know, in a moment, but for those of you who are watching, listening, Thom and I connected through LinkedIn. So this is a perfect example of how LinkedIn can work for individuals, specifically those of you who are authors, obviously listening to this through Self-Publishing 30 Days podcast. That LinkedIn is a phenomenal vehicle that brings people from diverse backgrounds together. I didn't know Thom from Adam. We connected, two different worlds, but we'll get into a conversation about how, as a result of us connecting, we were able to make a significant impact on people that we didn't really know.
Yes.
So Thom, before we get into all of that, man, tell us who are you, man? Like, tell us a little bit about yourself, but first start with, where's your hometown? Where are you from originally?
Thank you. I am born and raised in Atlanta. I was born in downtown Atlanta. I was born at Georgia Baptist Hospital. Grew up downtown, right across from where the I don't know what they call. I think they call it Ponce Market now, but right there on Ponce de Leon. And my mom and dad went to Grady High School, and I went to Stone Mountain High School, which is, you know, anybody that knows Atlanta knows Stone Mountain High School, because it is obviously the best high school, you know, in Atlanta.
Love it.
That is where I'm from. We moved to Charleston now. We live in Charleston about 16 years ago. Okay. We had a great opportunity with a company, and they offered me the opportunity to move pretty much where I wanted. And that is a testament to getting a project in on time and under budget. and Miss Andrea wanted to move to Charleston. So that is where that is our new hometown. Is where all our babies were born in Snellville, Georgia. Woo! And we now they all have grown up down here. And my oldest, Virginia, just moved back to Atlanta. She lives right within 2 miles of where I grew up. Pretty cool.
Well, I'm gonna tell you what, Atlanta's a booming metropolis. Woo! It's been growing ever since the Olympics of '96, and probably even before then. But you are the second person that I've met that was from or had some connection to Snellville. My coach, Kendall Ficklin, he actually lived in that area, and then he's moved to another part of the Atlanta area. I think he's like southeast of the city, actually southeast of the airport. So he's in an up and coming area, but that's phenomenal. So talk a little bit about your background. I know you have, similar to me, a background in business development. So I would love for you to get into that. But then I also, as we progress, want you to talk about some of the things you've done, even in your own ventures as a connector. You know, you do some things as a connector. So talk a little bit about the work that you got going on now from the business development perspective.
Thank you. The one of the sweetest ways that I could answer that question is about my great grandmother Hazel. Gregor, she was in the food business. Mm-hmm. She was born in 1890 something, right. And had the good fortune of knowing her until she was like 150 years old. And one of the things when she wasn't really 150, but
you caught me, man. No, let's pause there, dude. I'm like, dude, man. I've been hearing all these stories about people making it past 120. I like 150, man. Whoo, that them jeans.
Well, what I'm thinking about her in my heart, she's 150 years old. So, got you. So thank you. So one of the things she would do when I was little is for a period of time, my dad lived with my great grandmother, which would be his grandmother. So he had she was a big part of her life. And one of the things she would do whenever she was with me and we were out anywhere, she would put her hand in the middle. I can't do it. She would put her hand in the middle of my back, and she would say to me, when we would see her friends or anyone, she would put her hand on my back and say, Thom, tell them who you are. That's what you think about this, from a little boy being told, tell them who you are. Now, obviously, everyone in the family blames her for getting my motor started, because I don't ever shut up. But it's out of an abundance of passion and love for being here on earth.
Yeah.
So that is really where the core of my world came from, is telling people who I am. But it really doesn't sound as cool when you say tell them who you are, and that's not a name. You got me? That's who I am, is a caring, loving, cranky, not disciplined in some areas, nice person.
Yeah.
So when we talk to people about business development, really, isn't that really what you're trying to? I say that as a question. That's what I'm trying to do, man. I'm trying to tell you who I am.
Yeah.
Just so that if you say, man, I like that guy, he can do well by me. I don't feel funny about him. So that is really where the roots of my business development mindset really came from. Now there's a lot of other stories in there with my mom's mom, my grandmother, was one of the first businesswomen. She was in 1960. She was one of the first all-state representatives after my grandfather died, and she had to go, make a living. And then anyway, so that was kind of a cool thing, growing up around strong, independent women and men that were strong in their person and who they were. So I don't know if that went where I wanted it, but I feel good about what I said.
That's actually good, because I want to get into, when people talk about who they are, they typically lead with their title, right? But what you did was broke down the personal essence of who you are. I love how you talked about caring.
Thank you.
For me, I always talk about being a compassionate connector, right? So always leading with heart, always leading from the spirit, and being able to do that. How important is self-awareness and knowing who you are? How important is that in building business or just doing business, in your opinion?
I would say it is 10 out of 10. It is 10 out of 10 importance knowing who you are. I am a positive, 99% positive person, but knowing that a battery, and this is a quick thing because it's contextual to what I hope to bring to you and to your kind guests.
Yeah.
Is that a battery? People talk about, well, don't be negative. It's like, well, you should be positive. Don't be negative, man. But a battery has a negative side to it. A battery does not work without a negative side to it. Mm-hmm. So when I look at myself and say, look, man, I look at myself kind of like a battery. That how much are the positives matching the because it requires balance.
That's right.
And I would have to say that the importance of knowing your good stuff, but also knowing you're crazy. And I don't mean that like weird, but I mean knowing that you can accept that who you are, and that allows people to engage with you from there. Like, oh my gosh, I didn't know that about you, that crazy part about you. I share that with you. Yeah. And it allows you to tell them who you are. And the balance of the other side of the battery is being kind enough and caring enough about another person that you would want to know who they are.
Yeah, yeah, and that's one of the reasons why I love this podcast. And even earlier, I had an opportunity to interview a fraternity brother of mine, and he mentioned how he dealt with anxiety issues, right? Just even as a man dealing with anxiety issues, and he said he's very much an introvert. And as he was talking and sharing those things with me, it started to click that every time I entered into a room where he would always have this look on his face, like I look at him like, dude, are you mad at me for something? When in actuality, he was dealing with being in a room full of people and overcoming this social anxiety that oftentimes men rarely talk about, right? Because we're told, be strong, be a man, don't be weak. But when you're dealing with the internal stuff, it actually often shows on your face. And so we externally, we might think, well, what, he got a problem with me? Like it's like being from New York, right? Somebody's looking at you, you like, man, what you looking at? And people will fight and even die because somebody's looking at you. When in actuality, they're not really looking at you. They're probably dealing with something on the inside, and you're just in that direction where they're looking. So, you know, I think you're right, and I love what was shared with you about, you know, telling people who you are, because when you tell people who you are, it lets people know how to deal with you. And I know from your case, when you and we connected on a number of different occasions, and really what got this opportunity started was we talked about, you know, me doing some work with a popcorn company, and then all of a sudden you was like, oh man,
I remember that.
I'm gonna hook you up with this person that they do this, and let's talk a little bit about that, because you do some work within the restaurant industry, right? The food and beverage industry. Talk a little bit about that for me, if you don't mind.
And thank you for remembering that. That was a fun conversation, and again, it was just one of those alignment issues where there was a need for one of my clients, and you had the opportunity, which is part of what the whole collaboration idea is.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean, in my mind, running side by side.
Right.
You got me. You could be collaborating. That is not. And I will say that if I were to think of a way to tell someone about that word, I would recommend looking it up.
Yeah.
The reason I say that is because I looked it up before we talked, because I wanted to have a good feel of what collaboration was.
Yeah.
And I knew what it was, but I learned some new things. Okay, hey, I think I'm doing that, which is moving in what we would call when collaboration is, and this is a little bit away from where we're going, but I wanted to contextually move us back that way, is if you're moving in the direction that everybody agrees upon, you could call that collaboration.
Mm-hmm.
Different a little bit than cooperation, because one is, I think cooperation is moving in conjunction with someone for something that person wants, not something that you want. Like, help me move this chair. That's cooperating.
Right.
Just like we taught in school.
Yeah.
Or I say, well, they taught it in school. Whether I learned it, I'm not sure. That one of the neat things about collaboration in the food business is that my world is primarily manufacturers that are in the food service side.
Okay.
I do work with retail, which is a little bit, it's a wholly different world. That's different than grocery, different than what they call, there's different names, but like CVS, Walgreens, that's that's a more of a, where you go get prescriptions and get other stuff while you're in there.
More of a pharmacy type.
Yes.
Yeah.
And one of the neat things about the food and beverage business is that there is, and I think we actually had this conversation, there's one thing that people, and I say one thing, but I do feel like there's one thing, aside from possibly even as important as your spiritual life, talking with people of a like spirit or conceptually to how they feel about God or the universe or however they do that. Mm-hmm. And that is the opportunity to help somebody with a food product that they want to have something done with it. So the collaboration part of the food business, I know that went a little sideways on that, but the collaboration part of it is agreed upon, not necessarily results, but agreed upon direction.
Yeah. No, I think that's good. No, you right on pace, because that was going to be the next question, your definition of collaboration. So you right on pace.
Thank you.
And I think I like that differentiation between collaboration versus cooperation, because even though, you know, like this right here is a collaboration, right? We're coming together to, you know, to connect, to share, to identify ways to impact people with our gift, even though we're in different places, right? So that collaboration, and what brought that to my attention was, I'm currently writing a book. I'm doing a co-author book project called Collaboration Creates Currency. And so understanding that when you and I can collaborate, when we can bring our gifts together and operate in a similar direction, we may not be going in the same direction, we'll be going in a similar direction. It allows for us to impact people that we don't even know exist. And I want to get into a little bit of what we talked about before, you know, we started the recording, and that is, you introduced me or you made a connection between me and a young lady who's over a very large organization that caters to supplier diversity, right? And so you made that introduction. She knew who I was, or she knew of me. But it wasn't until someone in her organization said, listen, you need to connect with this person. But I firmly believe that had you not cracked the ice, I don't know how far that would have gotten. And so I have to give you kudos and credit for that, because you were willing to collaborate with me in facilitating an introduction. Can you talk about how collaboration has helped you? I mean, obviously you talk about it in what you're doing in the food and beverage, and you gave a great definition, but how has collaboration helped you?
Collaboration has helped me be kinder. And I'm already, and I say that knowing that I'm kind. I'm like full, there's all kind, it's all out. Yeah. But it has helped me by not just looking in the mirror at myself.
Right.
It has helped me be kinder. It's helped me be gentler. I'm still practicing. I'm not great at it yet, but when someone will give of themselves on a project that is important to me, and decide, just like you, I mean, just like you've done with me on some other things that we've talked about, that when we can be in alignment on that, it is I think that it may be one of the energy sources for the world.
Yeah,
I know that that was kind of like big, but I'm saying that it is one of the things that gives me energy. It helps me be kind, and it helps me use the things that I have developed to help someone else. Now, it may be self-serving sometimes. That could be a big part of it. But I think that if I were to finish up on the collaboration, because I'm really thinking about it, it's so exciting to do it. And I'm going to interrupt myself, which is something I do. So you want to guess where I met Dominique and William? Guess where I met them? Dominique and William
in Atlanta.
No, but that's very close. We met, our boys were in Scouts together.
Oh,
that's how we came to know the Miltons.
That's awesome.
Isn't that awesome? Yeah. Our boys grew up with Patrick, and there's William. So we had that is how we kind of just laying that back to the Scouts.
I got Scout stories for days, man. Matter of fact,
man, I'm with you.
They talk about the 2 reasons why they said make sure you get your Eagle badge before the fumes get you. Perfume and car fumes.
Oh yeah. I'm with you.
The perfume got me, so I wasn't able to finish. But at the end of the day, the values that you learn, I love, because you talked about being kind. Kind is definitely a big part. Kindness is a big part of those values, which is important because, and as you mentioned, we may have our own agenda, things that we want, but what I've learned is that if you help enough people get what they want, then you actually can stand flat-footed to ask for what you want, right? So it may not be that I've done enough for Thom, right? But if I've done enough for the world, then when Thom and I connect, I can stand flat-footed and say, okay, Thom, this is what I need. But I also have to be mindful that, can I help Thom get what he needs in conjunction with what I need? Talk a little bit about, Thom, when you think about collaboration, who are the people that you, at this moment or in this period of time in your life and the work that you do, who are the people that you want to collaborate with? Like who would make a good collaboration with you? If you had the opportunity to collaborate with a certain type of person or a certain type of people, who would those be? Because I ask this question of folks when they come on the show, because I recognize that you never know who's listening. And so the moment they hear the guest talk to them, they're like, oh, I need to talk to this person. So as if that person was listening, who would you want to be able to collaborate with, given some of the things that you have going on right now?
I think that having a passion and curiosity for the topic. So, I mean, we could do tennis, we could do soccer, we could do sailing, any of those things, but specific to the food business, it would have to be someone that would already have a passion for the food business, and would already be curious about the food business. Now, my clients generally are, and I use clients because I have not found a better word. There are better words for it yet, but local manufacturers of brands that have a product that they wish to bridge that 7-mile trench that's between. The challenge comes is when Aunt Sophie our Aunt Sophie in Virginia, Aunt Sophie down here, brings her potato salad, and it is the best stuff ever. And what starts happening? People start saying, "Hey, Aunt Sophie, man, you should package this and put it." And then y'all, next thing you know, you got Aunt Sophie peeling, we call them new potatoes, red potatoes, and making salad. And next thing you know, you guys got her in the kitchen, and everybody's in the kitchen trying to help her.
Yeah.
And I think that is a loose representation of 99 out of the last 100 companies I've talked to. That it was me and you, Rod. It was me and someone else. It was two people that said, "You know what, man, I'm hungry for popcorn." Yeah. Cool, man, let's popcorn. Then they start making popcorn. Then they come over to the house. Yeah. And people are like, "Hey, man, give me some popcorn and take with me." So the type of people that I collaborate with are people, number one, that aren't put away by constant communication that I have. And the other part would be someone that really is looking for a thought that could lead them in the direction they want to go to. They're looking for something that can lead them to a thought that could lead them where they want to go.
Yeah, I like that. And actually somebody came to mind. So I'm glad you mentioned that. Somebody came to mind while you were talking. I won't mention their name on camera. I'll tell you off camera, but okay. I'll tell you a little bit about her business. And so she and I connected as a result of the connection that you helped me to broker with Dominique. So I spoke to a group of small minority business owners through this conference. And there was a young lady who her background is in project management, right? And so we're talking about LinkedIn and she talks about her pound cake and how her pound cake is able to get in certain places, but because she was in project management, she really didn't want to use LinkedIn to promote her pound cake. Well, come to find out, her pound cake has been impacting all of these corporations, but she's just one person and she's thinking about ways to grow and scale. So she may be somebody that could benefit from what you know. I'm not sure. She's out of the Atlanta area, so I don't know if that's local enough for you, but
it's good.
But yeah, so I like that. So as we begin to land the plane, Thom, talk about because that's code. That's code for we about to bring this
man. Oh my gosh, when you get Miss Andrew is in there right now. She's probably knocking on the door, going, "Land the plane, bro.
Yeah, land the plane. That's right, land the plane."
She says that to me.
So as we
killing me.
Talk a little bit about where do you see yourself in the future? Like what are some of the things that you would want to accomplish? Because we're at the time of this recording, we're about to wrap up the year. We're literally 31 days, or 32 if you count today. 31 days away from a brand new year. What is it that you are looking to accomplish as we go into or as at the time of this may come out, 2022? What are you looking to accomplish in 2022? What is something you want to accomplish in 2022?
Thank you. In 2022, I want to become the most amazing processor that there is. I want to be the most well-rounded and the most loved and cherished and cared for person around all the people that I love and know as the best processor. I'll tell you what that means. I just learned this topic, the subject, and it is about inner processing and outer processing. Inner processors, meaning physically the I guess you would say even the software that's inside your brain.
Yeah.
That an inner processor thinks so that they can talk. A outer processor or outward processor talks so that they can think.
Right.
I just happen to be, well, you would never guess, I'm an outer. It's who I am, and the reason I bring that up, and I'm saying it for the first time out loud because I've been working on my notes for the end of the year. Yeah. I use my end of the year is Thanksgiving. The week of that week of Thanksgiving, that's our end of year for us.
Yeah.
And then so December is actually the first months of the year for us.
Wow.
Okay. So it makes it so it gives me 30 days of just being beautiful to people because everybody's happy. This year everybody's happy. And the reason I say that is I'm going to work diligently to be able to process without my mouth so that I can listen better to what people are saying to me.
I love it.
It has been when I heard it for the first time, it like hit me. I mean, like the literal ton of bricks. And it was like, it was a message to me. It's like, Thom, man, I love you. And I love the way you talk. And I love the way you communicate. And I love jumping up and down and all that sort of stuff. But you need to be a better inner processor so that I don't scare away those people when I'm meant to be helping them and I'm yapping. So that was like really personal.
So here's the thing. There's currency in transparency. I think I might coin that, right? So there's currency in transparency, right? Because when people get to know who you are for real, they're like, oh, it actually gives people permission to be them as well, because they're like, you know, speaking a language that I didn't even hear nobody else talk about. So I appreciate that transparency. So Thom, what I got a curveball for you, and then I'm going to ask you, how can people find you? Got a curveball for you, right?
Are you left-handed or right-handed?
I'm right-handed, so it'll come from the right side, right?
I'm ready. I'm ready.
So as you know, I'm a part of Self-Publishing 30 Days, #1 self-publishing company in the world. Say, for example, in the future, you decide that you're ready to write your book, right? And you can go anywhere in the world. You can travel anywhere in the world to write this book. And I was paying for it, right? I was cutting the check, right? Where would you go? Where would you travel to write your book?
Thank you. I would be in the black room, man. I'd be right where I'm sitting.
Okay.
I mean that with all the love in my heart. I would be right where I am. Now, if we were going to travel, I would have to say I've never been out of the United States, so I'd probably go somewhere, you know, out of the United States would be kind of cool. But I think like kind of a France kind of thing maybe down there. So because one of my initial trades was being a baker, and it's something I do very well, bakery and pastry stuff. It's very fun for me. So I would try to be in a place, you know, kind of France, Italy, kind of cooking sort of place. So
like that.
That's how I and I answered that. That's exactly how I feel. I would be
that's actually good. So I learned two things. Number one, you've not traveled outside of US, which is okay. But number two, France and Italy. And it just so happens that my mentor and coach, Kendall Ficklin, just traveled to both places. And I asked him to pick up some things for me because I want to do something special for the people who answer those questions. So, Thom, thank you so much. Tell everybody, how can they find you? How can they connect with you if they see you as someone that they would like to collaborate with? What's the best way to connect with you?
So LinkedIn is my primary source. And I'm on TikTok too, which is so much fun. I absolutely love it so much. We have just had the channel on YouTube. We've just done that. And I appreciate you asking that, because it was the one thing that I was thinking, like, how is anybody going to get in touch with me? I mean, other than like, you know, and the reason I said LinkedIn is because one of the things that I wanted to, as we're in final, is that I decided a number of years ago that I was going to follow people that act. Now, I'm an idea guy, which is funny for people that are listening to this. But everybody's got a dang idea, but nobody's got capital, right?
Right.
Is that and I wasn't really meaning to take it that deep, but it was, but being able to, you know, man, it's probably a little too deep for this. I was thinking a little deeper than I probably wanted to. But it is that choosing people that act is very hard to do, because you don't know. And one of the reasons that I bring that up and stuttered at it, because I haven't practiced saying it, is that I did what you said to do. I acted. When I think it was Corey Jackson, I'm thinking it was that I saw something and you gave it a little, I think it was a video about doing something on LinkedIn. I was like, well, he said to do that and he's acting. So I did it.
Yeah.
And because I did that led to all of the stuff we've talked about, because you acted, Rob, you did the action, and I just happened at that minute to say, I'm going to follow that. And I did what you said, and it has impacted people already. And for that, I am, give you like long distance high five on that.
Oh yeah, high fives, we're still high fives all day. Yeah, high fives.
I like it. Well, I guess we give like potatoes now.
Well, let me tell you something. I appreciate you. I'm looking forward to coming and checking out the Black Room. If the invitation is still open.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I want you to understand that you have a special place in my heart, because you were willing to open up your network, right? And so as a
Thanks.
result, other people's lives were touched. And so for those of you who are listening to this podcast episode, understand that every connection you make leads to an opportunity. And it may not just be monetary. It may just lead to a person's life being altered in a positive way. And so, Thom, I appreciate you. Make sure you all connect with Thom on LinkedIn. Make sure you look for Thomas Harrison, because if you call him Thom, you might not be able to find him, but it's Thomas Harrison. And as you know, I'm Rob YB Youngblood, president of sales for Self-Publishing 30 Days and your LinkedIn locksmith. Where here at Self-Publishing 30 Days, we promote the fact that this is the year for your new book. And here's what I want you all to realize. The longer you sit on your story, the longer it's going to take for somebody else's life to be touched. So if you got something to share, put it in a book, because the book will actually outlive you, and it'll make an impact. Be encouraged, be blessed. Most of all, continue to share the faith. And remember, your gift will make room for you. We'll see you on the next episode. Peace.